So I wanted to make a video about Ethereum and explain the difference between Ethereum and Ether. You'll hear a lot of people say the price of Ethereum is this, or I bought Ethereum, and what they really mean to say is the price of Ether is this, or I just bought some Ether. Because Ether is really the cryptocurrency that exists inside the Ethereum ecosystem. And Ethereum itself is a big project in this sense, and Ether is just an aspect to this larger project. So what is Ethereum then? So I have the Ethereum homepage pulled up here. It's ethereum.org. And it states what Ethereum is right here, and these three words underneath this logo here. It says Ethereum is a blockchain app platform. But what does that really mean? So to understand this, especially if you're new to crypto and blockchain, you need to understand the goal of Ethereum. And the goal of Ethereum is basically to use a blockchain to remake the internet as we know it today. And this is unlike Bitcoin, which is just a cryptocurrency. Ethereum takes the blockchain concept and it leverages it to scale an internet-sized network. Actually, Ethereum originally wanted to use the Bitcoin blockchain as its foundation, but it later ended up building its own. So why is this such a huge project? And to understand that, you need to know how the internet works as of today. So the way that the internet works today is when you pull up a browser like Firefox or Chrome, in order to view a website, you need to get the website's data from a server. So right now, that server is just some computer that is constantly storing data and sending out information. So essentially, you're pulling information or data back from a central database. And these central databases are usually owned and governed by a company or an individual entity or, some corporation. So what Ethereum aims to do is replace this server model with a blockchain. So now anyone can access and anyone can have ownership over this in a permissionless way. So you get all the benefits of a blockchain, but on the large scale that gets applied to the entire internet. So that's really the goal of Ethereum. So now on Ethereum, right, now that it's a version of the internet but built on a blockchain, now you have websites and web apps that use a blockchain instead of the traditional server model of the internet. And these websites or web applications are called decentralized applications, or people call them dApps, D-A-P-P-S, or decentralized applications. So dApps are basically web pages that run on the Ethereum's version of the internet. Or, well, I guess there's technically dApps that run on other protocols. But when you're talking about Ethereum dApps, they run on the Ethereum blockchain. So what do these dApps look like now that we're on the Ethereum version of the internet? Well, to the end user, they basically look like the same internet that we have today. They still use CSS or HTML, CSS, and JavaScript and other web tools that we have on the internet today. But instead of making calls to a central server, they make calls to the Ethereum blockchain. So now where does Ether come in? So Ether is the digital cryptocurrency that runs on top of Ethereum, and it can interact with these Ethereum decentralized applications. So people can use Ether as a monetary system on Ethereum, much like Bitcoin. But since you can write your own software for the Ethereum blockchain, you can write your own decentralized applications and you can write your own software for it, this software can now handle the Ether. So now you have a digital currency that can interact with software, so you essentially get programmable money. And when you hear programmable money, that's where people get smart contracts. So a lot of people tend to refer to Ethereum as the smart contract platform for cryptocurrencies. But really, it's so much more than that. It's a blockchain application platform, and smart contracts are just one feature that's inside of it. So I hope that explains the goal of Ethereum, what Ethereum is, and it clears up any confusion. And the next thing you're probably wondering is how can you access these decentralized applications that run on top of Ethereum? And you can do that right now, and there's a couple different ways you can. If we scroll down here, Ethereum has created their own browser, much like Firefox or Chrome, called the Mist browser, Mist. And you can download it here if you click this link. You go to a GitHub and you can download an exe. So that's one way to access these decentralized applications that run on the Ethereum blockchain. But another way is if you just want to use a browser like Firefox or Chrome, there's a plugin called MetaMask that will give you an Ether wallet and will let you interact with decentralized applications on Ethereum. And I'll probably do a video on that in the future as well, because it's a pretty cool technology and it really lets you get to see what Ethereum is all about. So that's about that. That's about it. Ethereum is a very ambitious project. It has a lot to offer, and there's many possibilities with this, obviously, but there's also a lot of struggles and difficulties. But nevertheless, Ethereum's a pretty cool project, and you guys should know about it.